So, first of all, before we graph this thing, what we do know is because it's an x squared, we know for sure it is a parabola, right? Has to be a parabola because of the x squared, right? And we know the shape of a parabola is kind of like either a smiley face or a frowny face, right? Now, let me ask you an easy question. Is this a function?
No.
Yes, it is.
Actually, yeah, it is because
Every-
parabolas are functions.
Yep. So it is. So because it is a function, we can say f of x. Now, if you want to say y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8, you can. Okay, you can. But, you know, y and f of x are the same thing. They're synonymous. And since it is a function, let's just say f of x, okay? Well, if we need to graph this, there's a few things we need to know, okay? So first of all, we do know that A is 1, B is 2, and C is negative 8. Capiche? It's just the numbers. The number in front of x squared is A. The number in front of x is B, and the number by itself is C, okay?
Negative 8.
It is negative. It's like plus and yeah, totally right, because of the negative there, right? Okay, now, what we want to do is if we follow our notes, we know that A is greater than 0, so we know it's going to be a smiley face, right? You guys agree? So on this parabola, we do know that A is bigger than 1, A is greater than 0, so we know it's a smiley, right?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
A is a positive 1, right? So the value of A, if it's positive, then it opens up, which means it's a smiley face, okay? If that means that anything that's bigger than 0 has to be positive. Shall I just write it this way? So A is positive, right? How's that? So I just write this. A is positive. That same thing, right? Got it? Okay, now let's find out. So in our notes, we talked about whether it's smiley or frowny. We know it's a smiley face. So then the next thing we want is the line of symmetry. So the line of symmetry is this. X, a line of symmetry, okay? We want to use x equals negative b over 2a, okay? We want to use that, all right? Well, here's my little formula. So we're going to go negative 2 over 2 times 1. I have negative b, b is 2. So I have a negative 2 over 2. 2's in the formula. This number's in the formula. 2 times a, which is 1, okay? See what I did? Negative b, b is 2, so I get negative 2 over 2 times 1 because a is 1, which makes a negative 1. That's the formula. It's always 2a. I can prove that to you in another class, but I'm not going to prove it to you. Yes, always. This is always, that's a great question. I'm not going to go through the proof with you, but I'll show it to you sometime, okay? No, because it takes a little higher math than we have for me to prove why, okay?
Okay, why did you plug in the 1?
It takes a little college math for me to prove it to you, okay?
Why did you plug in the 1 to the 8?
Right, great question. So A is what? You got it? And you know why A is 1, Landon? Okay, you ready? See where my pen is? A is 1. B, C. A, B, C. Okay, so we have a line of symmetry. So if we're going to graph this, let's start putting a graph together slowly, all right? So I'm going to put my XY axis, right? And I like to do the line of symmetry as a dashed line, so my line of symmetry looks like this. Okay?
Are we drawing that?
Yep. Now, all I've done is put in my line of symmetry. So I do know that the parabola, wherever it is, will fold over this line. Okay? Wherever the parabola is, it will fold over this line. So what I did is, the line of symmetry is at negative 1. So I went at negative 1. And this is my folding line, okay?
How did you get negative 1?
Negative 2 divided by 2, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now let's figure out what the vertex is, okay? Am I going slowly enough?
Yes.
Okay, let's figure out what the vertex is. So my notes say the vertex is some xy point, but it says that the x value is the negative b over 2a. Well, I already did that, didn't I?
Yes.
I already did that. So I do know that my vertex is going to be negative 1, something, right? I know that the vertex, it said, the vertex is the negative b over 2a. I did that, so I know the vertex is negative 1, something, xy, right? So then I say, okay, to get the y value, plug it in. Well, what do I mean by plug it in? Well, we're going to take negative 1. We're going to plug negative 1 into x. But I've got two different x's, don't I? I've got two different x's. Plug them into both. So I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to go y equals 1 times the negative 1 squared plus a 2 times the negative 1 minus 8. Okay, how am I doing?
Wait, can you scoot that?
Absolutely. Which way do you want me to scoot it?
Up or down? Yeah.
Right there, okay. So I have to get a point, because a vertex is a point, some xy. I know that it has to go through that line of symmetry, so I know the x value is the negative b over 2a. So I knew the x value was negative 1. So now I just need to get its corresponding y value. To get its corresponding y value, I just plug it in. So I plugged negative 1 in for x, but like Isaac said, there's two x's, so I plug it into both. Right, Isaac?
Yep.
So let's finish this up. So I'm going to get negative 1 squared is a positive 1 minus 2 minus 8, right, which makes a negative 9. Okay, and if you don't believe me, you just got to trust me. It's a positive 1 because the negative squared, positive 1 minus 2 minus 8 is negative 9. So I actually have a point at negative 9. So let's plot that point. Negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right down there, okay? Okay, I got a point there. That's going to be my lowest point, right? That's going to be my lowest point. That's my vertex. It's my vertex. And it's going to go up from there. Does that make sense? It's going to go up from there, okay?
How do we know it's the vertex?
We just use the formula. We just use.
How do we know it's the lowest point?
Great question. So is it a smiley face or a frowny?
It's a smiley face.
Good. So then the vertex has to be at the very bottom.
I know, but how do we know that point is the very bottom?
It always is. The vertex is either. It always is. So Landon, the vertex here. The vertex is always
Yeah, I
either.
know, but if there was, okay, I understand.
It's got to go up from there. Does that make sense?
Because there's a line of symmetry.
Yes. Yes. Good. Okay. Good. So now, let's keep going. So the next thing we can do is let's find the y-intercept. Okay. So let's do the y-intercept. Okay. The y-intercept says. So let's find the y-intercept. Okay. And to find the y-intercept, according to my notes, we're going to let x equal 0, okay? So let's let x equal 0, okay? So if I do that from my original equation, which was y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8, right? And I plug in x, but like Isaac said, there's two x's, so I plug it into both, right? So y would equal 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 8, and guess what you get? It should be negative 8. Agree? Okay.
Because 0 times 0 is 0. I mean, 0 times anything.
Wait, really?
But you're right on both, Zoe. No, Zoe, you're right on both. Because 0 times 0 is 0, and anything times 0 is 0. Zoe, you said both. So you get negative 8. So guess what? We're going to have a point at, you ready? 0, negative 8. 0, because didn't we let x be 0? Right? Didn't we let x be 0? So 0 is negative 8. Okay, now, there's a third point we can get pretty easily, because it's a line of symmetry. Right?
Oh, it's negative 2, negative 8.
Yes. Yes, there has to be a point right there, right? You guys agree? If this is a line of symmetry, then there's another point that has to be right there, right? Okay, good. Okay, how am I doing so far?
You're doing great.
Now, the next thing I'd like is a couple more points, right? So one of the things we can do for right now is, you remember how we did our 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, right? Okay, so watch me do it. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a point there.
Always that?
Until there's a number in front of the x squared, yes. But we're going to talk about that later, okay? So if that's the case, do I have another point?
Yes.
I got one right there, don't I? Got one right. Do I have another point right there?
Oh, then it goes to 9.
Okay, so I got another point right there. Oh, not, oh my goodness, I missed it. Good thing I have whiteouts. Oops. Fix that one, right? Hold on, fix that one. And then I have 3, 9, right? I can go 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I got another point there.
Wait a minute.
I will wait a minute. Huh?
Why? What?
It's 3
Ellie.
3.9. Are you trying to prove me wrong?
Why?
Ellie, I make mistakes all the time. You're welcome to question anything I say.
Now, the teacher is never wrong, unless if you're Mr. Barber, you purposely do things wrong.
I just do things wrong. Yes.
I'm just saying you said it was 3, 9, and that's.
From the vertex. Go over 1, 2, 3. Zoe, question. So then, let's go ahead. Now, it is not pointy. It's a parabola, so it has to have curvature to it. Okay, so I drew it in. Now, real quick, I know the vertex. The vertex is at -1, -9, right? I know my y-intercept is at 0, -8, right? And I have x-intercepts at 2, 0, and -4, 0. And there we go. We just graphed our first parabola. But you're not